gonna move on to Will Smith.
Big
we gonna
Willie.
we gonna move on to Will Smith and Will Smith's public apology to what happened at the Oscars this past year with Chris Rock, where he went on stage and slapped him in the face. So we pulled a clip from. It's a longer video. The total video is like almost 6 minutes, but we'll just play this little bit and we'll give our reactions to Will Smith's public contrition tour of the whole Oscar slap incident.
Rolled her eyes. Did she tell you to do something? No. Did she or insults? After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, I made a choice on my own from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe. And say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us. To all my fellow nominees, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment. I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient. What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down? So there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate when I let people down. So it hurts. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me. And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself.
All right. So that was how much do you want to bet that within the next, I would say, 48 hours, we are going to learn that Bad Boys 4 has resumed production?
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be
We're going to learn that several of Will Smith's upcoming projects have resumed production. They are no longer on hiatus. Yeah, I thought that this was weird. So, like, what the first thing that came to mind for me is this situation happened back in March, and when this happened, and so he's kind of been laying low for the last April, May, June, July, almost 5 months, over 4 months. So it took this long for him to do this, and branding. In 2022, he did it on his own YouTube channel. With his social media team and his production capabilities and whatnot. So that's all to the good. It is what it is. But yeah, like over 4 months later, he decides to put this out, apologizing to Chris and Chris's brother and his mama and all of that good stuff. Like, what is going on with this?
I don't know. Bizarre, as like you said, it's a bit strange. I think this is quite bizarre. The main thing that was in my head the whole time while I was watching this is that this is sad. Outside of being bizarre, the main thing that I took away from this whole ordeal, especially this video, is that Will Smith comes off as pathetic at times. And it's tough for me. And the reason why it's so tough is because even though I'm not like a Will Smith fan, I'm a Will Smith fan. And even though I don't look up to the guy, I look up to the guy. I feel like anybody, first of all, actors, uh, I feel like that's a hell of a skill. Like it's so slept on of how good you have to be an actor. And so I seen him in roles when he was younger to when he got older, and I just was a fan of how he's able to carry a film. Some people may not like it, but I did, and so that I was a fan of that, and so therefore I was a fan of his craft. So what the problem, and so this ties into my main point of the main thing that this situation took from it was, um, what's the Bible verse say? You shouldn't put your faith in man.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was I put his work ethic, his skill while he's acting, his skill while he's just being naturally funny. I put those things on a pedestal to where all his other life attributes would hit that same bar. And from the slap, from honestly before the slap, pre-slap, it was pathetic.
Yeah.
Then once the slap came out, and then his first initial, because I think this is his first apology, but I think he's either made statements or something. He wasn't completely ghost, and just hearing him talk post slap is gotten to a point where it's like, damn, bro, you really need help. Like, you need help, sir. And even when he was explaining the relationship stuff with Jada at the table and stuff, it was like, God damn, bro, like, you need a counselor for this. And so, yeah. And so I think if he really, because it was part of me that was still a conspiracy theorist with this, it's gone way too far for me to think it's a conspiracy. But I did think that I thought there was an element of those two guys being in on it because they are friends, and I thought it was something they would get out of it. I thought Chris Rock, since he was going on tour, right after that, he would win. Will Smith got the Fresh Prince show out there and all this other stuff. I figured that it had something to do with publicity. But in any event, right now we're here with him doing this stuff, and I must say, I would hope, you know, I was hoping that he was stronger than this. Everybody has their ups and their downs, but I was hoping he was stronger than this. And there's a way somebody can talk about their trauma that makes it seem like they've self-reflected, they've gotten to an area where they're trying to heal and make shit happen. And then there's people who talk about their trauma and they sound lost. And he's speaking about his trauma, whether it's excuses or not. He sounds quite lost when he's speaking about his traumas and what made him do what he did. And the whole fact with the Jada thing, did Jada say anything? No, she didn't. This was all me. And, it's like, bro, what would make you do that? So it was still, to me, I think it's sad. I think that, this highlights mental health. And I really think, bro, I'm pretty sure he has a therapist or something like that.
I hope so.
Yeah, he needs to. He needs to find a new one if he's been going to he needs new help. How you feel about it?
Yeah, I just, so when we originally talked about the slap incident, you were kind of thinking that it was about publicity, and I was more on the side of it being legit. And I mentioned then that when I watched the initial incident, right? So because I don't watch award shows, but when I watched what happened, because everybody was talking about it, and I saw like this dude really went up there and did that, like on international television, on live TV. And in that moment, I said he wasn't just slapping Chris Rock. I said that he was slapping. Chris Rock became like a vessel for Will Smith in that moment to exact his vengeance upon everybody whom he felt had disrespected him and his name over the course of the last couple of years that he had been incurring negative publicity. So I genuinely felt like in the moment that Chris Rock made that joke, because that was such an innocuous joke. Like, ain't nobody thinking about Jada Pinkett's alopecia. The dude was just making a joke because she's bald. Like, get over this whole he's being insensitive thing. But like in the moment that Chris Rock made that joke and he saw, Jada roll her eyes and whatnot, he in that moment, I felt like in his mind, and I'm speculating here, recklessly perhaps even, but I felt like in that moment, in his mind, he was thinking about the Red Table Talk shows. I felt like to a certain degree, he was also slapping Jada when he slapped Chris Rock. Like I felt like he was thinking about all of the Red Table Talk shows. He was thinking about all of the inferences to Jada's relationship with Tupac. I felt like he was thinking about the August Alsina song with Rick Ross, that entanglements thing. I felt like he was thinking about all of that, all of these situations that manifested themselves in a form of embarrassment towards him, not her, but him. And in that moment, everything came to a head and he slapped Chris Rock in response to all of that stuff that had been going on. And so the reason why I bring that up is because I kind of feel like Will Smith is one of those people, and this is no fault of his own. We're all imperfect human beings. I kind of get the sense that Chris Rock is an individual who's not very good at being able to confront some of the things that bother him and confront the individuals or the things that bother him directly. It's the LeBron factor. Like, I feel like LeBron is passive aggressive because he's afraid to be confrontational towards the individuals or the things that give him discomfort. And I think that some of that might be going on with Will Smith, where he just does not know how to appropriately and effectively be confrontational towards the things that give him grief, whether that's his own marriage, his relationship with his wife, other artists, other individuals, because he gave a vague, cryptic reference to past interactions with Will Smith with Chris Rock in that clip, where he said, my past, I don't know if you caught that, but he was like, that didn't come from Jada, it came from other things, my past dealings with Chris. What does that even mean? So it's like a cryptic reference to something that must have gone on that went unresolved. So he just kind of strikes me as someone who just does not really know how to effectively be confrontational. And I think if he had known how to effectively be confrontational at the time when certain things were confronting him, then he might have had a more even-keeled disposition at that time when the Oscars thing went down, and the whole slap situation wouldn't have occurred. But because there was such a buildup, it all kind of exploded and it manifested itself in what eventually happened. And so, it takes me back to the central point that you made about being able to effectively manage one's mental health. And I think being able to effectively manage one's mental health, knowing how to confront uncomfortable situations and scenarios is a part of that. And maybe he's just not very good at doing that. And, a lot of people place negative connotations upon the word confrontation. Like, being confrontational doesn't mean that you are okay with or comfortable with fighting somebody or yelling, fussing, fighting, arguing, cussing with somebody. It's more so about being comfortable enough in your own skin and being okay with addressing something with another individual so that you can perhaps come to a resolution or a compromise. But I think a lot of times, because we're afraid of what the other person might say, or we're afraid of how another individual might react, we internalize things that we should probably confront in a healthy fashion in order to resolve any sort of, to use his word, trauma. But because he might not be the best at doing that, things get held in and then they explode. And then he has to do a contrition tour and make all of these videos where he's apologizing, where maybe you wouldn't be here if your mental psyche had been in such a place in your past that would enable you to be able to be more comfortable in situations where you might confront certain individuals and occurrences that you feel are inhibiting your personal growth, even if that means confronting people who you care about, people like your wife, for example. So, that was my initial reaction to watching that clip. I agree that I was sad for him, not because I feel like he messed up, but more so because I feel like, we're all entitled to mistakes. And so, let's be real about this. In the grand scheme of the, in the grand, how does Doctor Strange put it in the movies? In the grand scheme of the cosmos, or in the grand equation of the cosmos, or something that Doctor Strange says in the Marvel movies. But like in the grand scheme of the cosmos, this is a drop in the bucket. It was one rich guy slapping another rich guy in public. It was an embarrassing moment, but in terms of problems with the world at large, this does not register on the Richter scale in any kind of way. So this really is no big deal. But in terms of it being a referendum on how to be able to effectively manage mental health, there is something to be said there. And I just kind of felt bad for him watching that clip, because clearly it's something that he's struggling to deal with. But it's just unfortunate that he has to deal with it while making these weirdo videos like this, as if it's going to help the situation, when really the only thing that's going to help the situation is sitting himself down and figuring out the best way for him to learn how to, meet certain things in the middle when they happen, so that you can curtail the potential for any future major embarrassing moment.
Well said. I agree with all of that. And I just would just loop it back into just his mental state of he didn't even, outside of saying that he was sorry, I didn't hear his apology either. And he was talking that whole entire time, and I didn't hear any point in that. Any time where he could have really elaborated and unpacked something to explain his logic, he didn't go there. And this production of an apology is strange. I mean, I get it. Like how you said, it's branding. I've never seen that W before on his hat, but I'm sure that's his name. I'm sure this is the set to one of his shows. I'm sure he's going to have Chris Rock and interview Chris Rock on his show, maybe in that same room. So if I was wrong about this being a conspiracy, I might be right about this part. So I really think Will, yeah, man, he's a cautionary tale, man. If you're flying high in life, meaning you're achieving something at a very high level, and a lot of people can see you, so you're flying high. Everybody look up and they just see you up there doing your thing. And so when you're flying high, it's high stakes. A lot of people are watching, and you gotta, Tyler to LeBron, you gotta get your LeBron on. Now, people might think it's fake. People might think it's fake. People might think you're beating around the bush instead of really talking about the issue that you really feel. But when you're flying so high and everybody can see you, everybody that's below you is propping up your brand. And the more, I would say, confrontational in this aspect, not the confrontation you spoke of, because I agree with your definition. Mm-hmm. But if you become confrontational with your listeners, then at that point it's like a hot air balloon, and the people literally prop you up. And the when you take a jab at them, for instance, when people get canceled or whatever, for instance, it takes the air out of the balloon. It kind of waters down and dilute whatever they were doing up there flying so high about. And so, at least for me, this whole situation, especially this video here, it just recentered me in a situation where there's other people in my life that I admire because of their craft, but not who they are as a person.
Oh yeah.
For instance, right? We didn't put this up here, but we're not going to use the R word here. But Mystical, you heard about Mystical getting arrested.
I have, yeah.
And so Mystical was, man, I really can't jive with him and he was a favorite of mine. I would listen to his album all the time, and to hear that he's did it again, and it's just like, hey, and I saw some report that says it's the third time he did it in the last 20 years, and this is like, you know what I'm saying? This is wild stuff.
Yeah.
And so when you're dealing, and so with Mystical as a person, then I'm disappointed. Then I turn around and be disappointed with Mystical. Like, oh, come on, man, get it together. It's like, hey, he did it before. Why did you put him on such a high standard still? He is a man. And so Will Smith is a mortal. And so this, to me, is also a cautionary tale, just to look at life through a different lens, or just a refocus, if you already had this as a life lesson, to the people that you do hold to a high esteem, the people that you are going, oh man, they're doing this. You can still regard them and revere them, and for whatever skill or accolade they're doing. But at the same time, they're so excellent over there. Jordan, for instance, where he's just so excellent at basketball, but it's not scalable towards anything else.
Yeah.
They're pretty shitty everywhere else, bro. And so the same thing here for Will Smith. For me, I appreciate his work ethic and his talent and all that good stuff. But once it comes down to his personal lifestyle, I don't like the way how he was getting dogged out by Jada. I don't like this situation here. It just makes I don't like how his kids give feedback to how he raised them. And so there's some things where it's like, damn, Will, why are you falling so short in all these areas? But it's just like, hey, the only reason why I'm holding him up like that is because of his acting. And the rest of his life and the rest of his body of work, well, at least when it comes to his hand-to-hand stuff, shows that he struggles with mental health. So, but yeah, long story short, I just really think that if there is somebody that, you are holding to a high esteem, just make sure you compartmentalize that and only appreciate their craft, or only appreciate the parts of you that they're showing you. Don't assume that they have other areas of their life, as succinct as their, performance. So.
Yeah, I completely concur. I think people make a serious mistake when they attach the label of role model to any public figure or celebrity. I have always said that the only people who you should hold in that capacity are people who you have personal relationships with, who you can look towards as a staple in that regard. So, like, not everybody is blessed to grow up in a household with parents who are good parents and all of that kind of stuff. But if you have any kind of mentor, or maybe an uncle who's a good person, or maybe you got a friend who's a good person, or a cousin, or maybe something like that. Maybe you have like a academic advisor, someone whom you have a personal relationship with. But famous people and celebrities should never be held in that regard, because you set yourself up for disappointment when you come to the realization that they are human and capable of human mistakes. And so I think we do a disservice to some of these individuals when we put them on that pedestal. But that's just the society that we live in, where we worship celebrities so much. We live in it's the same thing with the athletes and these musicians, these rappers and these people. Well, maybe not the rappers, but like, it's the same thing with these entertainers and these athletes, where somebody gets arrested, or if there's some indiscretion, if infidelity and it goes public, if there's a divorce, a DUI or something like that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, the humanity. And it's like, no, these are the same things that happen to everybody else in the world. These are individuals who are susceptible to the same ills in life. So you really should not allow your appreciation of their abilities to cloud your interpretation of how they are as a human being. Because you're at the end of the day, if you do that, you're making that mistake, not them. You should never put your faith in Will Smith or anyone in that regard. So I completely concur with all of that. I just kind of think that, he owed it to himself, when a lot of these things were happening, to confront them in the moment, as opposed to letting it fester. And I think the fundamental error that he made was allowing a lot of this stuff to fester, to the point in which it boils over and he ends up publicly embarrassing himself. As an aside, we do have a comment from our buddy McCall, who I think is watching right now. He said he messed up when he let people bang his wife. Tupac wouldn't let that happen. Yeah, so that's actually a very macabre thing. So, but also not completely false too. I don't think Tupac would let that happen, but that's part of the problem. Tupac ain't will, and that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, you know,
my thing is, and yeah, man, my thing is with Will, bro. He's just had a whole his whole history, man. He just showed that he was just simping behind closed doors, and the Jada stuff. The Jada stuff really just put him on blast. He just didn't look good there at all. Everything he does is embarrassing. So honestly, like this is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. That's why I said I was sad. I'm also embarrassed to this. I don't think he should be doing it like this. But this
I'm embarrassed when anyone does anything like this.
Yeah,
like it's cringe. Like I feel cringe watching it. Like I feel it sucks that you are in the type of predicament in which you have to make content like that.
Yeah, I mean, but it is what it is, man. But definitely with the production, the sad faces, the hollow apologies, the whole thing, man. It. I mean, it just shows you where he's at as a person, and I I I personally would be weirded out by Will. I think if I hung out with Will Smith, outside of the cool quotes here or there from some book or whatever, I'm pretty sure everything else after that gets pretty weird. And man, and even you can see Jada's face, like she's over, bro. Like she's completely over him and his antics, and I mean, we can go through. I mean, he pressed the relationship on her, he pressed the marriage on her. Like this guy here, man, he's just. I mean, even with the pregnancy situation, when she was like, "Oh yeah, I popped up pregnant," type of thing, but the way the story went down is like he kind of low key planned it, and so it's like, hey, Will, man, what are you doing, bro? So there's nothing honestly outside of the locker room that I'm impressed by with Will Smith. And everything on the court is cool, but as soon as you start getting into the outside the locker room and what he does and how he carries himself, this goes right in line with it. So, and to tie back in with me, not putting faith in man. I mean, he really drove home this whole situation from Jada to now, the Red Table Talks to now, really has articulated who he is behind closed doors. At least I can see enough, and it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah. I don't disagree. It is what it is. We'll go ahead and end it there. I don't think there's anything left to add. Yeah. I hope everything ends well for him, just because I don't wish ill on anybody. But I think a lot of this he did bring on himself. So at the end of the day, accountability above all. So that's going to do it for tonight, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Conscious Approach channel. Definitely appreciate the support. If you're watching this on YouTube, definitely hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel so that you can get the notification for all new content posted or published to the channel. The Facebook page, Meta, whatever you want to call it, is still alive. Mainly because I'm too lazy to go and deactivate it. That's the only reason why it's still alive. But it is still there. So if you're watching this on the Facebook page, like the page, share the video, comment on the video. Also, leave your thoughts on this video in the comments. If you are so inclined, you can follow the platform on Instagram at ConApproach, ConAppBroach. You can also find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. As always, I appreciate you supporting logical content.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS or YouTube at Dogon SS or any other social media platform at Dogon SS. All right. So like I always say, man, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, and keep it player, keep it even kill, man. Don't let nobody get you off your pivot. The main thing people try to do, man, is they try to get you out of pocket. And so, just like how Brother Will displayed earlier this year, when you get out of pocket, right? When somebody stirs you up, whether it was Will, whether it was Chris Rock, or honestly, it was Jada, because it was Jada's facial expression that got him all stirred up. So whenever you're dealing with your female, man, you have to understand the science of them trying to, on purpose, get you upset. They find out your algorithm, they see your pet peeves, and they pluck those things whenever they want to get a leg up on you. So if you keep it calm, you keep it chill, you keep it player, you keep it even kill, not too high, not too low, all right? Then at that point, this woman trying to get you out of pocket, or anybody else trying to get you out of pocket, won't be able to do it. And so at that point, you will keep it amicable in player. So just do that, man, and just keep that in mind, man. Don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So closing out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, mental health is real, man. A lot of y'all need therapy, and I strongly suggest that you seek it out if you can. But on that note, man, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you for tuning in, McCall. Holla at your boy. We'll catch you on the flip side. Signing off. We'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.